What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today is a very exciting video. I've actually wanted to make this video for a while now, but we're waiting for parts to come in. Today is the day that the shitbox CB750K barn find finally starts. It's been a pain in the ass to say the least. In the last video, I finally restored fuel to the actual system because the tank was so rusted, corroded, and gunked up. Fuel's finally back. For the video before that, worked out a bunch of electrical issues, fixing up the starter. Ends up being the solenoid that's bad, and you guys kind of have to hit it with a screwdriver or something like that once or twice to get it to work. Eventually, we're going to be replacing that. But in that video, we got it to turn over, something. We got it to do something. So that was progress. I've since done more things, which is how I decided I needed these parts. Basically what I've done since then is I tested the stator to make sure that we're getting spark and nothing's wrong in that department, and the stator came back just fine. Once I figured out the stator was fine, I went ahead and pulled the spark plugs, pulled the wires out, tested the wires, and didn't get any continuity there, but I was like, all right, maybe I'm just dumb and not doing this right. So I went ahead and tested what I think is called a distributor on a bike. I'm not actually sure if it's called a different name, but I tested the distributor and we're getting power to the distributor. So my next step, and I didn't record this part, so I'll go ahead and show you now. The next thing I did was I took this screwdriver, I found the distributor here, stuck the screwdriver in here and touched the metal prong that's in there, and then I touched it to the actual engine block while having it cranked over, my buddy cranking it over, to see if any spark would be coming out of here, and we got some spark. So that's how I figured out that spark was coming from the distributor, so the distributor is 100% fine. So what I did was I connected the wires back, tried the exact same test with the plug into the wire, touching the plug to the engine, and didn't get any spark. I think that's how it's done. Don't know. That's what I did and didn't get any spark. So figured our plugs are bad. Since I did two tests that I don't know if I did right, but they both came back negative. They both came back that something was wrong with the plugs. So I ordered new ones. These are the plugs that I ordered, about 50 bucks, and they're brand new. The reason I went with these is because they had the exact same distributor that I already have, which is kind of hard to find, but it was 50 bucks on eBay. And I know we didn't need new distributors, but they're new, so I know absolutely that these are probably good. And so they came with new boots and all that, and new wires. So I have to go ahead and make these wires. This is my first time actually making spark plug wires. I don't think it's gonna be that difficult, but I've been proven wrong before. So we're gonna go ahead and give that a shot, and then we're going to plug it up and see if it works now, once I put the tank back on. And I think that's it. I think I did it. So I'm gonna go ahead and test continuity now, so that I don't put it on the bike and find out that I did it wrong the entire time. Very well, I don't have any continuity. Nice, that's what we like, right? I think what I messed up on was this end here, so we'll give this another visit. And I'm done making the spark plugs. It wasn't too difficult. My hand hurts a little bit from all the twisting, but here they are. Here's the new ones, and that's the old one. Now you might be asking yourself, hey, those look a lot longer than the old ones, and you would be correct. That's a problem for future me. Current me only cares about getting it to work. Future me will make it look better, and I'll cut it and re-screw it and all that stuff, but I just want it to work, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and install it, and before I give her an attempt to start, I checked the airbox, and she's pretty gross, to say the least there. So there's a bunch of acorns and nesting stuff in there that I'm gonna clean out. I'm just gonna pull the whole filter out and clean it all. Once I do that and do the duff stuff, we'll see if she'll start. All right, just checking in. It's been a few days since I actually recorded anything or did anything on the bike because I've been waiting for the carburetors to clean. So I'm just giving you a little quick update before I put everything back together. I went ahead and took this out completely, wiped it down, cleaned the inside, and put it back. Took the valve cover off so I can make sure everything was in time. For the carburetors, I have them being cleaned right now in some sort of concoction here that was clear at one point, and now you can't even see the bottom. So hopefully that's doing the job in order to get it clean enough that there's no sludge or any debris or anything like that that'll prevent it from getting, you know, some sort of fuel mixture in there. Of course, I can't remember if I showed you guys this already, but we have brand new fuel lines and vacuum lines for
for the carburetor and whatnot. You know, these ones snapped off, they're old and brittle. So I got new ones here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all of this back together and get the bike reassembled and looking, you know, proper and decent. And then we'll reconnect the battery and give her a start. So I'm well aware that soaking the carbs in that little concoction that I had was probably not a good idea. I'm aware of that, specifically for like the gaskets and whatnot that are in the carbs. But that's not my concern right now. I don't care. I know it was probably a bad idea. Bite me. However, they are currently waiting drying right now. So what I'm gonna do is pull these spark plugs out and actually test the compression by using my good old trusty thumbs, because I figured I should probably test that. And then once I've tested that, that'll be everything. Other than the carburetors, that still might be bad, but we'll get to that eventually. Quick little update, decided to start taking it apart and drain out whatever was left inside of it. If you guys can see, there was some fluids in there. I mainly decided to do this just because I kind of felt bad about leaving it in the water. So it's more of my peace of mind, but clearly it was needed because I might have fucked up and drowned it in water. So I took it apart very plainly. I took I think these are called floater caps or whatever. I think the bottom things there are floaters. I don't know. I don't deal with carburetors or motorcycles. And then I took these off just because I didn't know what was in there. So just put in the new fuel line because the last one, of course, cracked from how old it was. So we got a new fuel line there, drained out. I cleaned it up a little bit. We're gonna put everything back together, finish up adding the new fuel lines, and we'll go from there. But I think we're just about ready to see if she won't start. All right, so everything's finally back together. I do have a little concern, and it has to do with this part right here. It is very difficult to try and, you know, flip the throttle here versus on this side, this being the air intake side, right? Yep, something maybe. Whatever side this is, if I flip the throttle here, if I flip the throttle, a lot easier to flip the throttle here, and they all move accordingly. However, on this side, not so much. I really gotta fight it here to get it to move. And when they do start to move, if you see that one starts to move, this far one over here doesn't wanna move at all. That's one of my concerns, is that this one's just not gonna get what it needs. I'm hoping that we still get some sort of like trying to start, like we can hear it like popping or whatever and doing something more than just the starter turning the engine, even though we have this one bad thing. Eventually I'm gonna make an entirely different video of like actually cleaning the carburetor and going more in depth, but for now I just want to get it back on the bike and see if she'll start, because I want it to start. I want it to do something. I'm gonna put this on real quick and then we'll give it a shot. All right, so the bike is back together. It is completely back together. There's a few things that I'm a little worried about. One of those being the throttle. The throttle, while I'm putting it back together, it doesn't work. It just doesn't fucking work. It opens very slightly. I know I showed you guys when it was actually taken apart that it just didn't work. And so I'm a little bit worried about that. Not necessarily so worried about the whole like carburetor in the water thing. That's, you know, water under the bridge. The next thing I'm worried about is there is fuel in there, but I don't know if it's enough. And if it won't start because of the fuel, then we'll just give it some words of encouragement and throw some starter fluid in there and see if that'll kick it over. Or do something with it. That's the goal. I'm gonna freaking turn everything up, get ready to start it, and we'll freaking go for it. All right, this is the moment of truth to see if everything that I've been doing actually did anything. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the choke, or this dab to reserve, to just try and get as much fuel in there as possible. And here we go. So it didn't work. However, the bike is starting to shake now, or vibrate, if you will. I don't know if that means anything, but oh, I'm hearing something actually. Yeah. All right, we're getting somewhere. Something's opening something. All right, so we're getting somewhere. Keep in mind though, I just took it all apart and the system's completely dry. So it might just need fuel to slowly get to the system. I'm gonna go ahead and get some starter fluid because I'm impatient and I wanna see if that does anything. But I am hearing stuff out of the exhaust now. So we're getting something. We weren't doing that before, so progress. That's a little disappointing. fast as fuck now. She really wants to. I can hear it. Ah, we're so freaking close. And I'm just leaking a bunch of starter fluid everywhere now. So I should probably stop. But we're officially making progress. The exhaust is making noises now. It smells like starter fluid in here. We were getting somewhere. I don't know exactly what the problem is. I really do think it's that throttle and the whole carburetor system that we got going on. So I'm gonna pull it off and do a complete rebuild on it. That'll be another video though, because doing a whole rebuild on that is just gonna take way too much time. And this video is already long enough as it is. Basically what we've done is we checked the compression, we checked the stator, we checked the distributor, the spark plug wires, the spark plug, cleaned out the air intake because that thing was filthy, disgusting, had multiple creatures living there at one point. We do have this one weird ground right here that's not touching anything, and it doesn't look like it goes anywhere. So I actually don't know where that goes, or if that could be stopping us from starting the bike. But yeah, it's just right here. It doesn't go anywhere. But we also verified the timing. I checked the timing chains and nothing was loose. Everything looked good. Everything looked like it was in time. So the next steps is going to be that carburetor rebuild kit and getting this component area working brand new. If that's the culprit. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you want to. It's absolutely free. You can always change your mind later. And until next time, deuces.